Sometimes I feel like if I weigh in too fast on some of his creative ideas, I can influence it in a negative way or a positive way.
Kody Brown thought he could rehabilitate his image with a televised apology tour. He thought a few carefully worded conversations and some manufactured emotion would be enough to make fans forget years of documented neglect, cruelty, and narcissistic behavior. He was wrong. Dead wrong. Because while TLC was busy promoting his redemption arc, a psychology major's devastating breakdown of his personality was spreading like wildfire across the Sister Wives fandom. And it exposed everything Kody and Robyn have been desperately trying to hide. The comment came from a viewer named Ashley Shortcake, who holds degrees in psychology and anthropology. What she wrote was not casual fan speculation. It was a clinical dissection of narcissistic behavioral patterns that left longtime viewers stunned by its accuracy. Ashley methodically broke down how both Kody and Robyn display textbook traits of narcissistic personality disorder, explaining why their relationship creates such destruction for everyone around them. The analysis went viral within hours, shared across social media platforms, and discussed in countless reaction videos. Fans who had spent years trying to articulate what felt so deeply wrong about this couple finally had the language to describe it. But here is what makes this moment so significant. This viral takedown did not happen in a vacuum. It landed right as TLC was rolling out promotional materials for Kody's apology tour, complete with official posters announcing which ex-wife he would be visiting each week. The timing could not have been worse for Kody's carefully orchestrated image rehabilitation. Because while the network wanted viewers to see a humbled man seeking forgiveness, fans were reading a psychological breakdown that painted an entirely different portrait. One of a man incapable of genuine remorse. One of a woman who thrives on chaos and victimhood. One of two narcissists feeding off each other's worst impulses. The psychology major's analysis struck such a nerve because it connected dots that fans had been seeing for years. Why does Kody always deflect blame? Why does Robyn constantly position herself as the victim while benefiting the most? Why do their apologies always feel hollow and self-serving? Ashley provided the framework, and suddenly everything clicked into place. This was not just about a dysfunctional family on a reality show. This was a case study in how narcissistic personalities operate, manipulate, and destroy relationships. What Kody failed to understand is that the Sister Wives audience has been watching him for nearly 2 decades. They have seen the patterns, they have witnessed the gaslighting, they remember every cruel statement, every abandoned child, every financial decision that mysteriously benefited Robyn while leaving the other wives struggling. A television apology tour was never going to erase that history. And now, thanks to a viral psychological breakdown, fans have the clinical vocabulary to explain exactly why Kody's redemption attempt was doomed before it even began. But the psychology major's analysis was just the beginning of Kody's problems, because his own daughter was about to expose the ugly truth behind his motivations. TLC is not even pretending anymore. The network has officially started marketing Kody Brown's apology tour as exactly that. An apology tour. They created promotional posters, they announced the schedule. Next week, Kody apologizes to Janelle. The following 2 weeks are dedicated to Christine, and the grand finale belongs to Mary.
Don't want to apologize for what I've been accused of. I want to apologize for what I know I've done.
So is there anything in you, like, specifically you're sort of thinking about as far as things you want to mention?
4 weeks of Kody Brown attempting to clean up the wreckage of his own making. But here is what TLC does not want you to think too hard about. This entire storyline was manufactured in a boardroom, not born from genuine remorse. The evidence is undeniable. Christine herself revealed in her book that before any season begins filming, the cast sits down with producers to map out what they want to cover for the upcoming year. Every storyline is discussed. Every major moment is planned. Nothing is spontaneous. Nothing is authentic. It is all orchestrated for maximum dramatic impact. So when Kody suddenly decides he needs to travel to North Carolina, Nevada, and Utah to apologize to his ex-wives, that decision was not made in a moment of spiritual clarity. It was pitched in a production meeting and approved because executives believed it would drive ratings. And why does TLC need this storyline so desperately? Because fans are bored. The show has reached a breaking point where nobody interacts with Kody anymore. The original wives have moved on with their lives, Christine is happily remarried, Janelle is thriving independently, Mary has found peace away from the chaos. The women are genuinely happy, and that is a problem for a network that profits from conflict. Happy people living separate lives does not generate the drama that keeps viewers tuning in week after week. So what does TLC do? They manufacture a reason to bring everyone back together. They ignore the fact that these women have healed and moved forward. Instead, they dangle Kody in front of them like bait, hoping the confrontations will spark the conflict audiences crave. The apology tour is not about reconciliation. It is about creating television moments. It is about capturing the tension when Kody sits across from women he emotionally abandoned and attempts to explain himself. The network is banking on uncomfortable silences, tearful exchanges, and maybe even an explosive argument or two. The cynicism is breathtaking when you really consider it. These are real women who experienced real pain. Christine documented the emotional and psychological abuse she endured throughout her marriage. Janelle watched her husband choose another wife over and over again. Mary was gaslit for years about her place in the family.
It shook me hard.
Did you feel betrayed by it or something?
It took me a minute. I was like, do I not know who he is? Was I deceived? It was a really big deal to me.
And now TLC wants to parade their trauma for entertainment, packaging it as Kody's redemption story. The network does not care about healing. They care about ratings. They care about social media buzz. They care about giving fans just enough drama to keep the show alive for another season. But what TLC did not anticipate was Kody's own daughter pulling back the curtain on his true motivations. Mykelti Brown Padron just handed fans the key to understanding exactly why her father's apology tour feels so hollow. In a recent Patreon discussion, Christine's daughter broke down a distinction that most people never think about. There is a massive difference between apologizing and actually being sorry. And according to Mykelti, Kody is going on an apology tour. Mykelti described what she calls bulldozer apologies. These are the kind of apologies where someone barrels through the motions because it makes them feel better about themselves. It helps with their own healing. It allows them to check a box and move on. But it is not actually done for the person receiving the apology. It is entirely self-serving. And Mykelti believes that is exactly what her father is doing. He wants to feel good about himself. He wants to stop feeling shame. He wants people to stop talking negatively about him. The apology is not about the women he hurt. It is about Kody Brown and his desperate need to rehabilitate his image. The language matters more than people realize. Mykelti pointed out that sorry assumes blame. Sorry assumes you actually feel bad about what you did and the pain you caused. But apologizing is surface level. It is what happens when a parent forces two fighting siblings to make up. The child goes through the motions because mom or dad demanded it. They say the words, they might even hug, but there is no genuine remorse behind it. They are just performing an apology to satisfy someone else's expectations. That is what Kody is doing on national television. Here is the most damning part. Kody has already revealed his true intentions. He stated plainly that he does not want to apologize for what he has been accused of doing wrong. He only wants to apologize for what he personally believes he did. Read that again. He is not acknowledging the pain he caused from his ex-wife's perspectives. He is not taking accountability for how his actions affected his children. He is only willing to address the narrow slice of behavior that he has decided warrants an apology. Everything else gets dismissed. Mykelti explained exactly what a real apology should look like. It should be about holding yourself accountable and taking blame for the things you did wrong because it hurt other people and you want them to feel better. Whether or not they accept it, they should understand that you mean it. That is genuine remorse. That is what healing looks like. But Kody is not interested in that kind of accountability. He wants the women to stop talking about him. He wants the negative press to disappear. He wants to reclaim his image without doing the actual work of examining his behavior. The apology tour is not reconciliation. It is reputation management disguised as personal growth, and Mykelti sees right through it. But she was not the only one exposing uncomfortable truths about how the Brown household actually operates. The apology tour comes with strings attached, and those strings lead directly back to Robyn Brown. Mykelti revealed something that sent shockwaves through the fandom. Before Kody could embark on his image rehabilitation journey, he needed to get permission from Robyn, not a casual heads up, not a respectful conversation between spouses, actual approval, and the reasoning behind this requirement exposes a level of dysfunction that explains so much about why this family fell apart.
Bulldozer apologies, that doesn't sound like an apology. That sounds like I want to feel better about myself, so I'm going to go do this because it's going to make me feel good.
According to Mykelti, Robyn needed to be informed because Kody would be meeting one-on-one with women he previously had intimate relationships with. Let that sink in. These are not random women. These are the mothers of his children. Women he spent decades building a family with. Women who have made it abundantly clear they want nothing romantic to do with Kody Brown ever again. Yet Robyn apparently views them as sexual threats requiring her approval before her husband can even sit down and have a conversation with them. The framing tells you everything. Robyn does not see Christine, Janelle, Janelle and Mary as co-parents navigating a complicated family situation. She sees them as women her husband used to sleep with. That context removes the children entirely from the equation. It ignores that Christine has 6 kids with Kody, including a minor child he pays child support for. It dismisses that Janelle raised 6 children with him. It overlooks Mary's decades-long history with the family. In Robyn's mind, these women are reduced to their past physical relationships with her husband, and that makes them dangerous. But here is the question fans are asking. If Robyn is secure in her marriage, why would she view these women as threats? Christine is happily remarried to David Woolley. Janelle has repeatedly expressed zero interest in reconciling with Kody. Mary has moved on and built her own life. Not one of these women has shown any desire to rekindle anything with their ex-husband. Yet Robyn still requires permission protocols, as though leaving Kody unsupervised with them might lead somewhere inappropriate. This paranoid dynamic might explain something much bigger. Is this why Kody stopped communicating with his ex-wives entirely? If every conversation requires Robyn's approval because she views these women as intimate threats, then avoiding contact altogether becomes the path of least resistance. Why deal with the drama of asking permission when you can simply cut off communication and claim the women are the problem? Some fans have drawn an even more troubling parallel. Kody pushed to adopt Robyn's children from her previous marriage, effectively removing her ex-husband Preston from the picture. Was that about providing stability for the kids? Or was it about ensuring Robyn never had a reason to communicate with a man she previously had an intimate relationship with? The pattern is consistent. Control disguised as protection, isolation masked as loyalty. But this dysfunction was about to be exposed in a way neither Kody nor Robyn anticipated. And then came the comment that changed everything. A viewer named Ashley Shortcake dropped an analysis so precise, so clinically accurate, that it exploded across the Sister Wives fandom within hours. Ashley holds degrees in psychology and anthropology, and she used that expertise to deliver a devastating breakdown of exactly what fans have been witnessing for years. The comment was not casual speculation or emotional venting. It was a methodical dissection of narcissistic personality patterns that left readers stunned by how perfectly it described Kody and Robyn Brown. Ashley started with the foundational trait that defines all narcissists. They lack a true sense of self. They do not know who they are as people. While everyone else spends their formative years discovering likes, dislikes, values, and identity, narcissists remain entirely focused on themselves, their perceived victimhood, and whatever trauma shaped them. They never properly develop. They never form their own authentic personality. Instead, they absorb traits from people around them, people they admire, or people they believe others will find impressive.
I wouldn't say that I don't see Robyn as a problem. I would say that I think that she is partially to blame. I think that my dad is partially to blame. I think that there's a lot of small factors that equal into it's all just messed up and sucks.
This explains so much about Kody Brown. Ashley pointed out that Kody has increasingly modeled himself after red pill and manosphere influencers. The language he uses, the views he espouses about masculinity and submission, the way he frames himself as the wronged patriarch betrayed by disobedient wives. None of this is original Kody. He adopted this persona because he saw men online being celebrated for these attitudes. He wanted that same validation. He wanted to be seen as powerful, dominant, and justified in his cruelty. But Ashley's analysis of Robyn was even more chilling. Because Robyn has no friends. She rarely leaves her house. She has isolated herself from anyone who might challenge her self-perception. So where does someone like that develop a personality? According to Ashley, Robyn models herself after biblical figures. She sees herself as a scapegoat, abused by everyone around her, just like Jesus Christ was. She believes the original wives and the public have crucified her unfairly. She compares herself to the Virgin Mary, deceived by her first husband for over a decade. The martyr complex runs deep. Ashley suggested that Robyn probably views the sacrifice of allowing Kody to be with other wives so the family could have money and keep the show going as comparable to Mary watching her son being crucified. That level of self-importance is staggering. Robyn genuinely sees herself as a Jesus-like figure, a martyr far more moral than everyone else. Someone who has suffered more than anyone could understand. It is laughable, it is pathetic, and according to this psychological breakdown, it is textbook narcissistic delusion. The comment resonated so powerfully because fans finally had language for what they instinctively felt. Years of watching Robyn cry victim while benefiting the most. Years of watching Kody demand respect he never earned. Ashley gave the audience a framework to understand the manipulation they witnessed, but her analysis went even deeper into the specific patterns that make Kody and Robyn so destructive together. Robyn Brown has spent years crafting a narrative where she is the eternal victim, the misunderstood wife, the scapegoat blamed for problems she did not create. the woman who sacrificed everything for a family that never appreciated her. But Ashley's psychological breakdown ripped that carefully constructed facade to shreds. Because what Robyn displays is not genuine suffering, it is a textbook martyr complex designed to deflect accountability and manipulate everyone around her. The biblical comparisons are not accidental. Robyn has positioned herself as a Christ-like figure within her own family mythology. She genuinely believes she has been crucified by the original wives, the public, and even her own stepchildren. Every criticism becomes persecution. Every consequence becomes unjust punishment. In her mind, she has done nothing wrong. She has only loved too much, sacrificed too much, and been punished for her goodness. It is a delusion so complete that she cannot see how her actions contributed to the family's destruction. Ashley's analysis highlighted how Robyn likely views her participation in plural marriage as a sacrifice comparable to biblical suffering. She allowed Kody to be with other women so the family could survive financially. She endured the pain of sharing her husband. She tolerated the jealousy and competition. In Robyn's mind, this makes her noble. This makes her selfless. This makes her better than the women who eventually walked away. She cannot fathom that her behavior might have accelerated those departures. The irony is absolutely staggering, because in a recent episode, Robyn broke down in tears talking about abandoned women in plural marriages. She described seeing wives in her childhood faith community who shared everything with their husbands only to be left with nothing. She called it wrong. Her voice cracked with emotion. She presented herself as someone deeply troubled by such injustice. But here is what Robyn conveniently ignored. She became the primary beneficiary of that exact dynamic in her own family. Robyn wept for hypothetical abandoned wives while Christine was fundraising for her daughter's surgery. She cried about women left unloved while Janelle was parking an RV on Coyote Pass dirt. She positioned herself as an advocate for mistreated sister wives while Mary spent years isolated and gaslit by the very family Robyn helped shape. The cognitive dissonance is astounding. Robyn sees herself as an ally to suffering women while actively benefiting from a system that caused 3 women to suffer. Word on the street suggests those tears were not about empathy at all. When Kody mentioned retracting his statement about never loving the other wives, Robyn's entire narrative was threatened. His cruel declaration had legitimized her position as his one true love. If he walked that back, the foundation of her specialness crumbled. Those tears might have been less about compassion for abandoned wives and more about panic that her carefully constructed victim story was about to collapse. But Robyn's emotional manipulation was just one piece of a much larger pattern of exploitation. That emotional breakdown in season 20 was supposed to make viewers feel sympathy for Kody Brown. The cracking voice, the tearful eyes, the seemingly heartfelt concern for women abandoned by their husbands. It was a masterclass in performance, but fans who have watched this family for nearly 2 decades saw right through it. Those tears were not about empathy, they were about self-preservation, and the timing revealed everything. The scene unfolded when Kody revealed he was considering apologizing for one of his cruelest statements, the declaration that he never loved Mary, Janelle, or Christine. That bombshell had detonated across the fandom when he first said it. Fans were horrified. The ex-wives were devastated. But for Robyn, that statement served a very specific purpose. It validated her position as Kody's one true soulmate. If he never really loved the others, then Robyn was not the woman who destroyed a family. She was the woman he was always meant to be with. His cruel words became the foundation of her entire narrative. So when Kody suggested walking that statement back, something shifted in Robyn. She did not encourage him to apologize. She did not express relief that he was finally acknowledging the pain he caused. Instead, she got emotional and started talking about abandoned women from her childhood. She pivoted the entire conversation away from Kody's accountability and toward her own feelings. The deflection was seamless, and it was deeply calculated. Sources close to the situation speculate that Robyn understood exactly what was at stake. If Kody admitted he did love those women, then the story changes completely. Suddenly, Robyn is not the destined partner who completed him. She is the woman who benefited while 3 marriages crumbled. She is the wife who got the full-time husband while the others were left emotionally starving. The narrative she has clung to for years disintegrates the moment Kody takes genuine accountability. Her tears in that moment read less like compassion and more like panic. The carefully constructed story she has been telling herself, telling the cameras, telling anyone who would listen, was suddenly under threat. And Robyn responded the way she always responds when cornered. She made herself the victim. She redirected attention to her own pain. She ensured the conversation centered her experiences rather than the women Kody actually hurt. Even in her confessional, the relief she expressed was telling. She said, "Hallelujah and thank you, Jesus," that Kody was reconsidering his statement. But her reasoning was about the pain it caused the kids, not the wives. Not the women who spent decades believing they were loved, only to hear their husband declare otherwise on national television. Robyn framed her relief through the lens of the children because that is more sympathetic, that makes her look caring. It was another layer of careful image management from a woman who has turned victimhood into an art form, but the financial exploitation revealed an even darker pattern. Robyn Brown wept for women who had to share resources and were left with nothing. She described it as devastating. She called it wrong. Her voice trembled with what appeared to be genuine emotion for wives who gave everything to their families only to be discarded. But here is the part that makes those tears so infuriating. Robyn was not just witnessing that pattern in her own family. She was the primary beneficiary of it. The financial history of the Brown family tells a story that Robyn's tears conveniently ignore. For decades, Janelle was the financial backbone of this family. She worked full-time jobs while other wives stayed home. She contributed her income to a family pot that supported everyone. She made sacrifices so the collective could survive. And where did Janelle end up after all those years of financial contribution? Living in an RV on a patch of dirt at Coyote Pass. Not even a proper home. A recreational vehicle parked on undeveloped land while Kody and Robyn lived comfortably in a spacious house worth over $900,000. The contrast is absolutely damning. Robyn cried about women left with nothing while inhabiting the family's most valuable property. She wept about shared resources while benefiting from a system that funneled money directly toward her household. During the pandemic, Kody used his strict protocols as justification to live almost exclusively at Robyn's house. That meant her home received the full-time presence of a husband and father while the other wives were left completely alone. The resources of time, attention, and partnership all flowed in one direction. Then there is Christine and the situation with Isabel's surgery. Christine's daughter needed a major spinal operation that required traveling out of state. It was a painful, life-altering procedure with months of recovery. And what did Christine have to do? She fundraised. She hustled to cover the costs. She asked fans for help paying for her daughter's medical needs. All of this happened while Robyn and Kody lived comfortably without any apparent financial strain. Kody did not even attend the surgery, citing his COVID protocols. He stayed behind with Robyn while his daughter went under the knife without her father present. The Flagstaff move exposed the financial priorities even further. The entire family uprooted from Las Vegas, a move that stretched their finances to the breaking point and forced the sale of multiple properties. And what a coincidence that this relocation happened to align perfectly with Dayton's college plans. Robyn's son needed to be in Flagstaff, so the entire family sacrificed their stability to accommodate her branch. The other wives lost their homes, took on new mortgages, and struggled to rebuild. Robyn landed in a mansion. For her to then cry about the injustice of unequal resources is a level of cognitive dissonance that defies comprehension. She described a tragedy while living as its greatest beneficiary. But the financial exploitation was only part of the damage Kody inflicted on his own children. The apology tour was supposed to focus on Kody's ex-wives, but his own daughter just revealed a wound that cuts far deeper than any failed marriage. Mykelti Brown Padron shared something on her Patreon that left fans heartbroken. When Kody was recently in North Carolina, she had no idea. He never told her. She was only a couple of hours away. She could have brought his grandchildren to see him, but he did not even make the call. The pain in Mykelti's voice was unmistakable. She explained that if the situation were reversed, she would absolutely reach out. If she were anywhere near her father, whether Arizona, St. George, Vegas, or Phoenix, she would let him know. Even with their strained relationship, she would still make the effort. She would give him the opportunity to see her and the grandkids. That is what family does. That is what parents and children who care about maintaining connection do. But Kody did not extend that same courtesy. He was in her region and never said a word. This is not about an ex-wife holding a grudge. This is about a daughter feeling forgotten by her own father. Mykelti has tried to maintain a relationship despite everything. She has defended Kody at times when others would not. She has kept the door open for him to be part of her children's lives. And he repaid that grace by being hours away and not bothering to mention it. The message that sends is devastating. His grandchildren were not worth a detour. His daughter was not worth a phone call. But Mykelti is not placing all the blame on her father alone. She made it clear that she views the family's destruction as a two-way street between Kody and Robyn. When asked on her Patreon if Robyn is solely responsible, Mykelti gave a measured response. She said Robyn is partially to blame. Kody is partially to blame. There are many small factors that combine to create this mess. She would not put full blame on any any one person because the dysfunction runs too deep and too wide. That balanced perspective makes her criticism even more credible. Mykelti is not a bitter ex-wife with an agenda. She is a daughter trying to understand how her family fell apart, and her conclusion is that both Kody and Robyn played significant roles in the destruction. The controlling dynamics, the isolation from family members, the prioritization of one household over all others. Mykelti sees the patterns clearly because she has lived them. She also does not believe her father's apologies are sincere. Kody admitted he wants to apologize so people will stop talking negatively about him. That is not accountability, that is reputation management. Mykelti wants her father to apologize because he hurt people and wants them to feel better. She wants him to take genuine blame regardless of whether his apology gets accepted. But that would require self-awareness that Kody has never demonstrated, and the psychology behind that inability reveals the ultimate truth about this broken family. The psychology major's viral analysis ended with a conclusion that fans have suspected for years. Kody and Robyn Brown are two different types of narcissists whose combined dysfunction creates maximum destruction for everyone around them. Separately, they would cause damage. Together, they have systematically dismantled an entire family and alienated 13 of 18 children. The patterns are undeniable, the evidence is overwhelming, and the apology tour is just another chapter in their shared chaos. Ashley's breakdown identified Kody as an overt, flamboyant narcissist. Anyone who spends 5 minutes in a room with him recognizes it immediately. He demands constant attention. He craves validation and admiration. He wants the high fives, the praise, the acknowledgement that he is the most important person present. His obsession with appearance and material success drives every decision. He has always had rage issues. He has always been controlling. The man who showed up on television in 2010 was not a loving patriarch who later became corrupted. He was always this way. Robyn did not create the monster. She simply gave him permission to stop hiding it. Robyn operates differently, but with equally devastating results. She is a covert narcissist who weaponizes victimhood. Her manipulation works through tears, martyrdom, and the constant positioning of herself as the misunderstood scapegoat. She controls through perceived fragility rather than overt dominance. When Robyn cries, people rush to comfort her. When Robyn expresses hurt, Kody attacks whoever caused it. She has mastered the art of getting what she wants while appearing to sacrifice everything. It is manipulation so refined that many viewers still defend her despite years of documented behavior. The combination is toxic beyond measure. Kody's need for validation meets Robyn's ability to provide it exclusively. Her victim narrative requires a protector, and he desperately wants to be seen as powerful. They feed each other's worst impulses. They reinforce each other's delusions. They create an isolated bubble where they are always right, and everyone else is always wrong. The original wives were not obedient enough. The estranged children are not loyal enough. The public is not fair enough. Nothing is ever their fault. Christine's book documented the emotional and psychological abuse she experienced long before the cameras arrived. People who knew the family before the show confirm that Kody was never the carefree, loving father the early seasons portrayed. He has always settled scores, he has always been vindictive, and now he has a partner who matches that energy completely. Both of them create chaos for entertainment. Both of them hold grudges indefinitely. Both of them prioritize image over genuine connection. The apology tour will not change anything because neither Kody nor Robyn possesses the self-awareness required for genuine growth. They will perform remorse for the cameras. They will say words designed to rehabilitate their image. But behind closed doors, the patterns will continue, the manipulation will persist, and the children who have already walked away will stay gone. Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you will not want to miss what is coming next.